welcome to another exciting edition of your favorite podcast, Hindsight is Horrifying. I am one of your hosts, Jason Mitchell, and I'm here with my co-host,
the other host, Darth Jader.
And we have a guest. Big surprise, everybody, right?
Oh my god, who is it? Who is it? Tell me.
He's back.
Yeah.
Old Adam.
No wonder you sat me across the room. I'm still a little pissed off about Shivers. Now I understand.
Well, I actually thought about you.
For once.
No,
Okay.
I did, because we are continuing our Christmas movie extravaganza, and so I decided, let's do something very different from Shivers. Let's do a movie that is an adaptation of a novel. Something really with literary merit. Yes, and something that's also a Christmas movie adapted from a novel.
Yes. So what is it that we're discussing?
We're doing Die Hard.
What?
Yes.
You didn't think about me for very long, did you?
Yeah, I thought about how much you'd hate it.
No, I actually love this movie, listeners.
You must.
Yes.
It is close to the greatest film
It really
of
is.
all
It's
time.
un-American to not love this film.
Yeah. And for once, we're doing an all-American movie that isn't Canadian. So that's
Hey,
good.
what a twist.
The last all-American movie we did was
Super
A Christmas
duper
Story,
Canadian.
and it was pretty Canadian.
Yeah.
We are, of course, doing the movie adaptation of the Roderick Thorpe novel, Nothing Lasts Forever.
Yes.
Which I'm assuming that like 3 people out there even know that is a thing.
No, I had to rewatch this movie to refresh myself, as I normally do. I had no idea it was based on a book until I watched it the other day. So
I learned that earlier today.
Yeah,
in the bathroom.
And in fact, what's interesting is that
I was reading
off and running, fellas, off and running. Oh God.
I was reading my phone.
Oh, of course you were.
Isn't the phone the greatest for that? That's like the greatest invention, specifically because now I can go to the bathroom and just play games. I can read. It's wonderful.
Only
Listeners,
2 or 3 things you could do.
Hindsight, there's so many
Yeah.
visuals I never needed about Jason or Adam Brown. So now you're privy to that information too. Welcome to the emotional scarring.
When you become a dad, you learn that the bathroom is a refuge, and it's the only place in the house where you can get a very small moment.
Well, luckily I've never been a
time.
dad, so I don't have to worry about that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So what to say about this movie?
Well, I have a question that I think is going to spark some decent debate, because I think both of you have different feelings about this movie, both the fellows in the studio. I believe one of you thinks it's the greatest Christmas movie specifically of all time, and the other doesn't think it's so much of a Christmas movie.
Fair enough.
Don't look at me. I think it's one of the greatest films of all time. You could apply any adjective to it that you'd like.
Okay, previous
Christmas,
conversation led me
Easter.
to believe otherwise, so
But-
I must have been mistaken.
Well, but do you believe it's a Christmas movie? That's the question.
First of all, you got to tell me, what is a Christmas movie?
what defines a Christmas movie?
Well, I'll be honest, because I was thinking about this earlier. Like, okay, if I had to defend my position that it's a Christmas movie, because, okay, it takes place at Christmas, but that doesn't necessarily make it a Christmas movie. I'll give you, Christmas has to feature in the movie.
It's the jacket it's wearing.
Yeah, Christmas can't just be, it happens to take place at Christmas. Like Lethal Weapon. Well, no, Lethal Weapon.
takes place at Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah,
and,
but they have Christmas presents, and they make a point of the tree, and
and they invite Riggs over for Christmas
They
dinner.
invite Riggs over for Christmas, so
and
that
it opens with a Christmas song.
so does this.
Yes. Die
it
Hard
doesn't
opens
open.
and closes
Yeah.
with, it's got Christmas music throughout, actually.
Yeah, Christmas in Hollis, Run DMC, and then
Man, this is a Christmas song.
yeah, it's an awesome Christmas
Argyle.
song. Poor Argyle. He did not go on to do a lot after this movie.
I was about to say, I don't really recognize him from any other projects, so yeah.
No.
Unlike Carl Winslow and the legendary Alan Rickman.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say the great legendary Reginald Vell Johnson.
That was going to be my second,
Yeah.
credit.
He's awesome.
Bonnie Bedelia, she's had a pretty good career, and Bruce Willis, of course, just still making Die Hard movies. So.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah, they
My
don't
question for
exist.
both of you, though, is how old were you guys about when you first saw this movie?
I would have been single digits because it came out in '88. So
You saw it when you were that young?
yeah, either on TV or on tape.
She
Yeah.
had very permissive parents, if you
evidently,
recall.
yeah.
Yeah, they weren't super. And this is just an action movie, and what like
Just violence.
Yeah.
Okay, well, wait. How old were you when you saw it? Not the TV cut, the actual.
Oh, that's a good question
Yeah.
because all the F-bombs would have been censored.
Because you take that word out of the movie, it's like taking a character out of the movie.
Probably then, if it wasn't TV cut, probably I'd have to say like late junior high or high school.
Okay. All right.
I think I waited a long time before I saw the uncut movie. I was in my 20s.
Okay.
So
I was like maybe 10 or 11, and what happened was back in ye olden days of cable. Remember when HBO would do the free weekend?
Wait,
Yeah.
They would
commercials? That's not a thing
Yeah.
on HBO.
Right? No.
No,
but-
I'm just kidding
yeah.
about the timeline. Yeah,
Yeah.
because back when you had to wait for things to come on the TV at a certain time
Right.
and wait through advertisements.
Right. But they did a free weekend, and as a kid, it was, all of a sudden, up next, Die Hard. And I immediately put a tape in the VCR.
when you had your
and
own
recorded
copy.
it, and I had my own
Nice.
bootleg copy of Die Hard. It's the movie that taught me how to use the word
Well, it's used
yeah.
in so many contexts in this movie. I mean, it
yeah.
shows you, it shows the diversity of the word.
There's going to be a lot of bleeping in this episode.
Oh God.
But that also reminds me of a time when we used to watch scrambled television. Did you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
listen
Yeah.
to scrambled television?
Looking
You could
for
almost follow along
looking for the boobs.
with what they were
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look, I think I can see something. Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Oh Lordy.
And every now and then it would lock in and then go away.
Yeah. And you would think, oh, I did it, And there was always that one kid who was like, oh, yeah, I know how to unscramble it. Yeah, I did it at my house. We get I get
Your
free.
TV must be different.
Yeah, and it was no, we had that kid. Your TV's different
yeah.
than mine.
We
My
all knew
parents'
that
TV is
tool.
better than your TV. Yeah.
Whatever, Billy.
Yeah.
The 80s were an awesome decade.
God, they were awesome.
Yeah.
I saw something that it was a meme that said in the 80s we wanted to go back to the future. In 2019 we want to go back to the 80s
Yep.
because it was. Now let's talk about the outfits that we're all wearing.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
we did something that we rarely do on this silly show. We made an effort, and to continue our awesome holiday festival, we all dressed up for Die Hard.
Yes.
and each have very different and very specific costumes on now. So why don't we let our guest host start with what he's wearing? Because we both had a big time when you revealed your costume to us. That was a pretty great surprise.
Yes, you enjoyed my entry into the building here.
It was so
well,
dramatic.
I am decked out with a white linen jacket. Think Don Johnson,
Very Don
1985.
So Don Johnson.
Very Don Johnson.
We'll put a side by side on Instagram so that people can see.
Got my white pleated pants,
Mm-hmm.
my shirt that says, what is it? Read it for me. Jason, I can't read it.
Darth, why don't you read it? Why
What
don't you read it?
does my shirt say?
Reading
I can't read it from this
No,
angle.
wait. I'll read the TV version of it.
There
where
you
the
go.
Shirt
Read the
says,
TV version.
Yippee-ki-yay, melon farmer.
That is so Christmas story.
That is absolutely what they changed it to.
No.
Melon
farmer.
farmer. Yippee-ki-yay,
farmer.
melon farmer.
All right, I'll cut to the
And if you
chase.
don't know what we're talking about, yeah.
It says, Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Whoa.
That's right. And I'm wearing my Vans.
That was Gary Cooper, asshole. There's so many quotable lines in this movie.
There are.
So many quotable lines. This is the movie that gave us Bruce Willis.
Yes, it is.
Bruce Willis was established by the show
Moonlighting.
Right.
which was a
absolutely.
really good show.
Where he hated his co-star.
Did he?
They were
he hated
miserable
Sybil
on that
Shepherd?
set. Yeah.
Oh,
Apparently, they did not get along.
Sybil.
huh. I can kind of see that.
I've never watched it. I've just read stories about it. But Jason, so I think you're wearing
It's
the most...
Admiral Nagumo
Yes, it is.
from Midway.
But before we get too off track with our costumes, listeners, you know very well at this point that Jason and I are very fond of a show called Bob's Burgers. And if you haven't seen season 5, episode 1, Live Hard or Work Hard or Die Trying Girl, do yourselves a favor, get on Hulu, wherever you stream, watch it immediately because I'm wearing the Die Hard the Musical t-shirt. So that's my costume.
We need to do Working Girl, the sassy sister film to
Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, did Bob's Burgers come up with a Sassy Sister film?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes, they
yeah.
did.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'd never heard that
never
before.
thought of it as a Sassy Sister.
breaking through the glass.
Does anybody want coffee?
You've stolen this Gruber's heart.
Oh, it's such an awesome. See,
It really is.
We've made a pledge, by the way, not to just do this entire episode making Bob's Burgers references.
Hey, I didn't swear on a Bible.
Well, I swore on whatever book I happened to.
He swore on the Die Hard book.
I swore on
Die
my
Hard novel.
Yes, my copy of Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe.
So you have to stick to that. All right. In that case, what are you wearing, Jason?
I am
the most
wearing
iconic
yeah, I'm wearing
outfit in the room, I think.
The best replica that money can buy from Etsy for under $20.
Yeah.
Of the sweatshirt that what's
Carl's brother.
Carl's brother was it James?
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I don't even. Yeah,
One of the super
Carl's
Aryan brothers.
Yeah, Carl's brother.
brother.
Yeah,
Young.
The one that doesn't matter.
Yes, the one he gets shot, who gets killed by John McClane, and then he writes in blood, which is pretty gruesome when you really think about it.
It's kind of rough.
He wrote, "Now I have a machine gun, ho ho ho," in blood on the guy's shirt, and that's what I'm wearing.
Oh, but you got to do it in the Alan Rickman voice.
Now I have a machine gun. Pause, because he has to unfold the shirt. Ho ho ho.
Perfect.
Yes, I'll get you, John McClane.
And your little gun, too.
I'll get you, Harry Potter.
But this film,
Well, that leads me to a text I sent the two of you, which you both avidly ignored a couple of weeks back, where I described Die Hard as a Harry Potter movie because John McClane is in a tower running around avoiding Alan Rickman all night long.
Yeah.
It's a Harry Potter movie.
Good point.
And I got crickets for that, listeners. Neither of the boys actually replied to that. I think I made them mad.
we're not Gen Zers or whatever.
Yeah,
you are.
I don't. Text messages exist only to irritate me.
So we've discovered.
Yes, that is. I hate text messages and emails
I'm aware.
and phone calls. I want to go back to Western Union
Pony Express.
where you have to go to a place and like pay them money, and then like the next day someone will show up at my house and hand it to me. But you're limited because you have to pay by the word.
So you want to go back to the Dickens days.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
All right.
That's about where I'm at.
Yeah, that's why I only text you things that require action on your part. So if you've noticed. But yeah, so back to the movie.
Yeah, and my friend Adam actually sends me emails that say action required because he knows if he doesn't, I'm just going to glance at it and then go back to whatever I was doing.
Gotcha.
In the subject line. Now, Bonnie Bedelia, was also the wife of somebody else in an 80s TV program.
Which
Ooh.
was? Deep breath.
Sonny Crockett.
Oh, was she?
Yes, she
I didn't know that.
She
I didn't
was
know
in
that was. Oh,
Sonny Crockett. And she was a cougar because she's 7 years older.
yeah.
Oh, is that what makes that's the age difference that makes somebody a cougar?
I think she's
you sure you want to stick to that
I
definition?
think she's a cougar poodle mix.
She's a cougadoodle.
Well, with the
Cougar-doodle.
hair, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
No,
No, I love Bonnie.
Yes, the very
She's
smart.
fantastic.
But
And
yeah, you get a. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
I was just going to say he's very upset now, I believe, because she retained her maiden name.
Yes, when she went to go,
Yes.
because for you communists who haven't seen this movie,
or small children. yeah.
kidmunists, I don't know,
whatever.
it's a blend. Who cares? The premise of the movie is that John McClane is flying to LA from New York.
Yes.
From New York City.
You can just say New York.
Oh, okay, so from New York to visit his estranged wife.
Yes, and he has Jack Ryan's teddy bear.
He does. From The Hunt for Red October. He
Yes.
does have the teddy bear for his. I guess they're
Wait, did
sharing
you just say the haunt from?
The Hunt for Red October.
Boy,
She did say
you
haunt.
just gave me a great idea for a movie, though.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm
Haunt
sure we'll be working
for
on it together.
October.
next Halloween.
There's
Hindsighters.
got to be something there.
We'll work on it later.
Yeah.
So John is flying into LA to visit his estranged wife and their children for Christmas.
Yes.
He's bringing them a giant teddy bear. He gets a limo ride to Nakatomi Towers, where his
Yes.
wife has started this awesome new career. And yes, when he signs into the computer that allows him to take the elevator upstairs, he finds, oh, there is no Mrs. McClane, but there is a Holly Gennaro.
Yes,
And he's
yes.
awfully pissed off about that.
Which, by the way, I learned something. I've seen this movie a million times, and I never actually knew this. The reason why so many of the scenes take place in a room full of computers, because that always kind of bugged me, but I never really thought about it. Like, why is there a room with like computers and stuff? The whole building was originally supposed to be like operated by a supercomputer.
Oh.
And so they had it like written, they did the sets and everything. And that's like where, the security guard's like, oh yeah, the computer will do everything for you.
Include go to the bathroom.
Go to the
Like,
bathroom. Yeah, it was supposed to be a whole big thing. Like the building was intelligent, and so that was like the brains of the computer in that room. But then they just cut it, and it's
Wow.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in Nakatomi Towers, as we know, is actually the Fox Plaza in real life. The reason why they were actually able to use this building is because the 33rd and 34th levels were under construction. So that's where they shot a lot of the movie.
yeah. But Fox still charged them.
Yeah, I do
of
have
course
that in
they
my
did.
research. They still charge themselves, even though Die Hard is a Fox project. They
Yes.
charge themselves a rental fee to use the space.
The Fox Plaza building, as featured in that one episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes, for all of our Andy Samberg fans out there.
But the 80s were an interesting transition period from a female career standpoint.
Yeah.
Because back in the 70s, it's like, my wife will never work.
Right.
Never.
Right.
My wife will never work. And then in the 90s, it's like, why isn't your wife working? Is she disabled or something?
Yeah.
So the 80s was that transition where women really began to enter the workforce, and it played well into this
Yeah, and they actually
theme.
And it led to the birth of shoulder pads and power suits.
That's true.
And
It did.
sneakers with
Yeah.
skirts.
Yep. And the 80s nature of it, where it was he's going to see his wife who's taking this high-paying job, and she's making so much more money than he makes.
It's kind of, you get an emasculated sense from John McClane because
Yeah.
his wife not only took a job,
Yeah, she had a good job, turned into a great job.
turned into a career,
career.
and just and you think from his perspective that that's just like this out of the blue decision that his wife made, but then when they're fussing at each other in the bathroom when he's washing up from his plane ride. Oh, and we have to mention this. He took his shoes off too.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
when he's on the
yeah.
plane in the beginning, his seatmate is like, "Oh yeah, you don't like to fly, do you?"
The most contrived reason ever to get a character to take his shoes off.
Yeah, because you got to have the iconic glass
filmic
scene.
history,
And,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's a mess. And they make such a point out of it, too, later when he kills the first brother. And he's like, oh, yeah, I had to kill the one guy in the building whose feet are smaller than my sister's, and he can't steal his shoes.
Yes.
So, but yeah, John takes off his shoes at the behest of his seatmate in the plane, who says, yeah, when you land, when you get to where you're going, you stand on the carpet and make fists with your feet. And
With your
it's-
toes.
With your toes.
Fists with your
Thank you.
toes.
Fists with your toes. Yeah, he repeats that. And he's like, it makes you feel grounded and
Trust
more
me, I've
secure
been doing
or
it
something.
for 5 years.
Well, I've been a cop for 11 years. It's all good. When the seatmate sees that he's carrying a gun on an airplane.
Yeah, back in the 80s, man. Well, because in the book, too, a couple of differences up to this point. One is the wife has a different career in the book. In the book, instead of working for Nakatomi Plaza, she's dead.
Well,
What?
and
Yeah, she's dead in the book.
You read the book?
No, I read the synopsis
Oh.
of the book. I do want to get a
He
copy
read the
of the
Spark
book.
Notes.
Yeah.
Cliff,
Yeah.
Cliff Notes?
yes.
He goes to see his daughter in the movie, and it's like it's the same thing where she got the job and then
moved away.
but they divorced and the wife died and he feels terrible and his daughter doesn't talk to him, and they are actually terrorists in the book. They changed it from terrorists to thieves in the movie just to make it more lighthearted, which I think is brilliant.
Oh, I think so,
You know.
too.
Even though, I mean, Mr. Takagi gets shot point blank
Well,
in the
yeah.
freaking head. Yeah, that's not dark at all. But getting back to a second for the Bonnie Bedelia thing, you kind of get this sense that it's not a happy marriage at all because they start fussing and you think that she just up and took her kids for no reason, just for a fancy new job. But really they start, it's never specifically mentioned, but they're like, oh, you knew what our marriage was before I moved the girls out here. And they're kind of fussing at each other before Holly gets distracted by one of her coworkers.
yeah.
Her coworker Ellis, who's bumping cocaine at every possible opportunity.
Booby.
80s man. He is the most 80s man
He
in
seriously,
the history of
he
the
is
world.
like Florida man. He is 80s man. That's
Yeah.
who he is.
Yeah. Well, that was that great stereotype that existed in the 80s. And it was a stereotype that existed for a good reason.
Wait,
because-
wasn't everybody doing cocaine
Yeah,
back in the 80s?
everybody was doing cocaine.
Pretty sure.
Big hair and blow. That's
oh, yeah.
what the 80s was.
I mean, Saturday Night Live basically ran on cocaine.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, if some of their stars' unfortunate deaths are any
Well,
indication,
yeah.
yeah, drugs were a huge scene.
Yeah. But the movie itself, getting back to the Christmas argument, you know, is it a
Yes.
Christmas movie? Besides the music and the fact that he's got a Christmas gift in him, that features in several shots, because anytime you see Argyle, you see the teddy bear.
Yes. It is a Christmas party that the terrorists
Yeah.
bust up in the first place. So it's a joyous season. Everybody's enjoying Christmas.
I think it's the first movie that the H&K MP5, the machine gun or the
entered the mainstream.
It's just became such an iconic movie gun.
Well, and speaking of which, apparently this movie is kind of famous. Like in an interview a long time ago, Bruce Willis mentioned the fact that he went partially deaf because of this movie.
Yeah.
Because they used extra loud blanks.
Yeah.
And he said that's the most annoying thing that's ever happened to me, because now he was like, I was an old man when I was young, because I'm sitting there and somebody will be talking to me and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? And I can't hear what they're saying part of the time. But it caused partial permanent deafness.
Well, if you notice, every time that Alan Rickman shoots his pistol, they cut away from him very, very quickly, because every time Alan Rickman would shoot, he would wince and close his. In fact, and you can actually see it when he shoots Mr. Takagi.
Precious.
You can see him sort of flinch whenever he shoots him.
Oh, I've got to watch that.
Yeah, which I think just adds a level of realism to it.
No, that's cool. And well, that's why they did the extra loud blanks, to make it seem more real for the actors on set.
Yeah.
But they did a couple of things like that, like when they drop Hans off the building. Adam Brown brought this up. So what happened to Alan Rickman when they did that, Adam?
Well, they actually hung him from a 20-foot drop and let him go. And as they were rolling, he said, I'm going to let you go on the count of 3. 1, 2, and he let go. And
He just let him go.
And it's such a great shot.
It is.
It is. It's great.
Yeah, it's one other 80s thing about this movie too that we in 2019 have completely forgotten about is the whole thing. Remember when the Japanese were going to take over the country?
Oh my gosh.
Remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Everyone was terrified.
Yeah, and that was a very real thing. There was the whole line about Pearl Harbor didn't work, so now we're going to do it with tape decks.
They just bought Sony.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, this whole idea of the Japanese were going to buy everything. It was very relevant. Not so much nowadays. We don't think about it, but
Wait, what are you guys saying? I'm sorry. I saw John McClane in a tank top. I didn't hear anything that just.
That's called a
got said.
wife beater, by the way.
yeah,
whatever.
the wife beater, yeah.
Not a tank top.
I don't.
It's a tank
the label
top.
doesn't.
Ladies and gentlemen.
He's manly enough to where the label just does not matter.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
Yes,
God,
he's
I
got
love
such
Alan
a
Rickman.
robotically beautiful voice.
Oh, Alan Rickman was the best.
I wish there was a way to make him like my GPS navigation on my phone. That
Yeah.
would make me so happy.
Yeah.
Did he do a lot? He was been very well established in theater at this point.
He was in
Oh, God,
theater.
yeah.
He was in theater and British television.
Got
it.
But this was his first. This movie, I say it gave us Bruce Willis. It gave us Alan Rickman also
In America, at the very least, yeah.
They saw him in McTurnan, and somebody else saw him in a play. I don't remember which play it was, but they basically said, "Yeah, that's Hans Gruber.
Well, 'cause
It's got to be him."
Because I would have seen this movie. I would have seen this in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, about the same age when he was the sheriff of Nottingham. So,
Yeah.
So I grew up watching Alan Rickman movies, and I've been fascinated with him my entire life. Rest in peace, poor Alan Rickman.
He did get typecast.
Of course he did.
But I've always said, everybody always talks about typecasting as a bad thing. But to me, if you're a working actor,
It guarantees you work.
yeah, why? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, do you really care?
And if you work with it as opposed to fighting against it, you don't wind up like Henry Winkler or
Yeah.
Mark Hamill. Well,
George
Mark
Reeves.
Hamill just
Yeah.
went off and did
Oh, yeah.
all this voice work
Huh.
and everything else. But when you don't fight it, Alan Rickman is just given all these iconic roles. And he kind of reminds me of Tim Curry in the same sense that you can tell how old someone is based on what they know Alan Rickman from.
Yeah, and he had a great career. He had a really, really great career.
Oh, God, yeah.
Carl, the one with fabulous hair.
Fabulous! You killed my brother!
We should probably mention that. I think
Yes, that's a sad story.
Yeah, the saddest real life story about this movie was the fact that Alexander Godunov.
He was a ballet dancer.
Yeah, he was a ballet dancer. He was with the Bolshoi, and he actually was. He was a defector in the 70s. The Bolshoi was in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
He fled, and he sought asylum, but his wife was with him. And when the Soviets realized that he was missing, they put his wife on a plane, and were going to take her straight back to Moscow, I guess as like leverage to use to get him to come back. And the U.S. government found out she was on the plane and wouldn't let the plane take off. And all of a sudden it became this like Cold War, this very small little footnote to the Cold War, because you've got this Soviet aircraft that's trying to take off and the U.S. government saying, no, we're not going to let you. And eventually I think it turned out that they either the marriage was falling apart or something, but she actually did supposedly want to leave. And so they eventually let the plane go, but he didn't live much longer after this movie.
He didn't, really?
No, he literally straight up drank himself to death. Yeah. I mean, like, died of hepatitis or cirrhosis.
Liver,
Not hepatitis, cirrhosis.
Very different diseases.
Yeah. But he went missing, and people were saying, oh, where is he? He's not answering his phone calls, and sent somebody over to his place, and
It was all over.
gone.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Poor
shame.
guy.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's really, it is sad, but
A smidge. Yeah. But yeah, so we're coming up on the iconic scene of Mr. Takagi.
being shot in the
Because he's grooving. He's Hans Gruber and he's grooving. Sometimes that can mean shooting.
okay,
Oh,
that's
right.
enough,
We
that's
promised. We
enough.
promised. Got it.
head. But this scene actually is pretty intense, though, and I always hated it because I really like James Shigata.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
And I like him being in the movie, and it's like, oh yeah, he's not in the movie particularly long.
No, he doesn't last very long. And it's just because, and that's what you said, Jason, like in the book, they are terrorists, but you sent us a link this morning, Adam, to an article where it was arguing about how they're not really terrorists if all they're really doing is just stealing a whole bunch of bearer bonds.
Yeah, they're
which
just
is the same as
thieves.
money, I guess.
I am an
ruthless.
extraordinary thief.
Ruthless thieves. Because, yes, they do kill with extreme prejudice.
Bearer bonds, man. That was such an 80s thing.
Oh, God.
Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like every
Yeah.
80s movie, they was like, we got to get the drugs because we're going to trade the drugs for the bearer bonds. That's every 80s action
Because the
movie.
article that Adam sent actually said the words, and I never thought I'd see these two things in the same sentence. It was white collar and sexy. Bearer bonds.
Yeah.
That's what it lent itself to a sexier idea of just white collar crime.
Yeah, and it was like, it's just kind of made up because as far as I know, bearer bonds don't really even exist.
No,
It's not a real thing.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the article in the show notes. I actually will this time. But yeah, bearer bonds, most banks wouldn't even accept them by the time this movie was made.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it was a little bit of a loophole, but this person
Because-
is looking for like
Yeah.
really deeply hidden plot holes that most common Joes are not going to know anything about. But I actually used to work for a bank, so that's why.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
wouldn't have accepted bearer bonds when I worked there, but that's because back in the 80s they're basically deemed
I'd say
unusable.
it's probably the Bitcoin of the
Yeah,
80s.
yeah.
Yes.
Because
Oh,
now
yeah.
that's
Like
what
that?
everybody
I
uses.
do.
Oh, there's the H&K P7,
Oh.
Hans Gruber's gun.
I guess you'll just have to kill me. Don't say that, Mr. Takagi!
I'm going to count to 3.
I love that Carl and Theo have a bet going, and after he shoots Takagi,
Wait, what?
Well, if you watch right after he shoots Takagi, does Carl hand Theo the money,
yeah,
or does
he does.
one of them hands
I've
the other one money?
never
Yeah.
noticed that.
Yeah.
Because this moment always draws me in so intensely to Alan Rickman, and you see the blood spatter out of Takagi's head, and it just, it's so intense. I never noticed
There
that.
will not be a fall.
Now, was it Takagi
Mr. Puffer.
or the, hey, Gruber baby? I thought they might have made a bet on that guy. Let's just say.
They might have.
I can't remember which one the money. Oh, wait,
Oh,
no,
no,
they're next to
the
each other.
cops down on the ground have money on McClane.
Got it.
They've got like a Deadpool or something going on for him
Yeah,
in
'cause
the
that-
building.
Yeah, because everybody.
Watch. Boom.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is
That's when
so
John
brutal.
realizes they're
This
serious.
movie just got real.
Yes, it did.
And will money change?
Yeah,
Oh my
Carl,
God.
yeah,
yes.
Carl,
The money.
Carl hands Theo the money.
Yeah.
The
And then
programmer.
Theo immediately went out and became Walker Texas Rangers partner.
You gotta love it.
Yeah.
but
Which I knew that, but I didn't remember it until I was looking at the notes for the show. I was like, oh my God, that's right. He was on Walker Texas Ranger.
See,
He was Walker's partner.
Yeah, you just like I knew that somewhere in the deep dark recesses of my brain, and you saying it, I'm just like, oh my God, yes,
And
that's
I do
true.
want to know what bullets John McClane has in that Beretta.
Very different individual.
That's Freudian.
Hold on.
Freudian slip.
I'm going to kill the terrorists. Kill them all. That would be an awesome movie.
He just can't raise his arms up high enough to
Hang
shoot
on a
them.
second. I'm coming.
Adam. Oh my God.
Could be Bob Dole, right?
John McClane is back, and this time he's pissed off. Well, he was pissed off before. He's pretty.
He's
much
even
always
more. He's pissed off
Yeah.
squared.
No, but I want to know what kind of bullets that McClane has in that Beretta M92 or 92F, because I have one of those, and I'm reasonably certain nothing that is in my arsenal would be able to just shoot straight through that table.
That
and still
mahogany
have-
table.
That mahogany
Are you kidding me?
table.
This is hand carved mahogany. And it's such an oddly shaped table. It's lucky that John is so very dexterous.
Yeah, it is a weird table. Those are, you can imagine meetings in that room. It'd be very odd.
Yeah, well, that was once again one of the many teeny tiny. It was just these pinprick plot holes that this article Adam sent us was bringing up, because it's, oh yeah, I guess rich people own really decorative, useless pieces of furniture, and it's lucky that John can sort of slither. There's just got about 40 right angles.
Ever heard of a thing called the 1980s?
I don't believe so.
Where nothing was made. You didn't just buy a table if you were rich. It had to
No.
be something stupid.
Yeah, it
You know?
because I mean, even I remember growing up, my parents had some furniture that I was just like, oh, I'm going to sit in this chair. No, don't sit in that chair. Why?
Yeah.
It's not comfortable. Okay, why do we have it?
Did either of you have
decorative.
relatives
Yes.
who had plastic on?
Oh, Jesus.
yes, you
yes.
Did? Yeah, I did too.
My
No,
gran
no.
still has plastic on her
Really?
couch. Yes.
Wait,
That
on
was
her
very 60s,
couch?
70s.
Maybe not anymore. I haven't been over to her condo in quite some time, but she used to when I was growing up, because
Oh my
she's
God.
such a neat freak, and kids spill things and they've got sticky stuff on their hands.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, she was obsessed with having plastic on her couch back in the 90s when we were growing up.
So basically, ruin your furniture, make it completely unusable, but at least it'll be clean.
Or if you're going to kill someone in your living
Yes,
room,
that
you
is
can clean
true.
up
Yeah.
really easily.
Yeah.
Okay, Dexter.
We see that's why my grandma always had the roll of Visqueen on the ground. You know,
Oh.
yeah. So, yeah. Grandma was a hit man, hit woman. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry,
Hit
cleaner.
gal.
Hey, gender
Yeah,
neutral
yeah.
these
Sorry,
days.
hit person,
Hit person.
hit person.
Hit Caitlyn Jenner.
I love Hans Gruber's line when he says that Mr. Takagi will not be joining us again for the
rest of his life. That was a good one.
It's like I imagine Hans leaving Takagi's office and walking into the room and like thinking up that line.
Yeah.
Like, this would be excellent.
He's such a cool customer too throughout the movie. I mean, he knows the cops are coming. He knows the feds are coming. Like, he's thought it out. He's actually got a really pretty solid
He's very,
plan.
very German about it.
It's so he's
Yeah.
it's very Ocean's 11. He's got somebody on every little task. Like, he's got somebody to take over as the security guard downstairs at the
Kiss your
desk.
fucking Dalmatian.
Oh yeah, I love that line. Here they come. Where's the cavalry? Like, and he's freaking out. He finally sees the fire truck and he's like, "Damn it, come on!" And poor John, he's just begging for help to show up because all he's got at this point is a handgun.
Yeah.
But that's about to change, gang.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right. We're
Because
about
he's
to-
going to have a machine gun. It's so
You
awesome.
killed my brother.
Now I have a machine gun. Yes.
And it's great too because the whole character of John McClane as the every guy, as just a poor schmuck, because he is. He's a schmuck.
Well, they say
know,
that on The
he's-
Office specifically. Steve Carell mentions that when he's talking to a group of people. He says, I don't really like the Die Hard sequels because when you watch the first one, John McClane is just this everyday cop. He's a hardworking
Right.
American guy.
Yes.
And he's the odds are stacked against him, and that's what makes it a stimulating story. That's what makes you like be on his side. Then in the subsequent stories, like he's like a super cop who's
Right,
flying a
yeah.
motorcycle into a helicopter, and it doesn't make any
sequels-
sense.
Die Hard 2 is okay.
Yeah, I'll sit down for Die Hard too.
I just the biggest problem I have with Die Hard 2 is the fact that they had to work Yippee-ki-yay motherfucker into
Into
this.
every
Of
single
course they
one.
did.
It's like,
Yeah.
Well, we've already said it twice now on our episode. That doesn't. There's no way that's not getting quoted when you talk about any of these movies. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter
yeah.
which
It's
one.
the I'll be back.
Yeah, it
of the
is.
Die Hard.
It's
film.
the snakes had to be snakes, and
But-
Dr. Jones, no time for love.
Yeah.
Like it's just iconic stuff that people
I'm hungry.
remember.
But to be fair, Die Hard 2 does have more naked yoga. So
Naked yoga?
yeah, what's it?
And now
Is it
Adam's going home to
Michael?
watch
No,
this.
no, it's like Michael Ironside. Was it Michael Ironside?
I don't remember.
I haven't seen the sequel or Jeremy Irons. Yeah.
Jeremy Irons.
Scar from The Lion King.
Yeah, I think he's Jeremy Irons, the bad guy in Die Hard 2. When you first see him, he's in like his hotel room doing naked
Paging
yoga.
Dr. Google.
Yeah.
Dr. Google.
That's all
I'll
right.
have to look that up.
You know what? I think our audience will be fine not knowing.
Yes.
if you really want to, go watch it.
So they're fighting now.
Yeah,
Carl's brother,
Yeah.
Carl Jr.
Yeah,
Carl's brother.
Carl's Jr.
Carl's Jr. is fighting with Don McClane.
John McClane.
That's another movie I'd watch.
God. We can't get it straight.
The Eagles are back. Oh, God. Oh, wait, no.
They are back.
I'm thinking
Sadly.
Bye Bye Miss American
No, that's
Pie,
right. Yeah, I got the wrong musician. You're right. Yeah. That'd be the whole movie. He'd say that every 15 minutes.
McClane. Which one of us?
Now, the supposedly the phone numbers and the that whenever they're going through the anytime you see phone numbers in the computer system of the Nakatomi Corporation, it's apparently Fox Media executives, their actual phone numbers.
No.
Supposedly
Oh, that's hilarious.
supposedly that's it. I don't know if that's true. Because back then, what were you going to do in the theater? You couldn't pause it. You know, nobody was going to get that.
Well, it's kind of like how on television, every phone number ever starts with 555.
Yeah.
Which is no area code anywhere.
Yeah. Well, and that even that became a joke where, you know, in later shows, people would give a number and it's like, oh shit, it's 555. It's a fake number, you know. But I remember as a kid though, I've just been handed an important
From Dr. Google. Dr. Google.
Communique from across the table.
Oh, but here we go, because now we've got the brother in the sweater, and John's trying on his shoes, but they're too small. Poor Goldilocks. The shoes are just too small. But yeah, so then, oddly enough, he's on a floor of the building that is still under construction, but there's this random Santa.
And he gave him an
this
idea.
Christmas decoration
Yes.
that's sitting there. Yeah, it's just lucky that it's there. And there are a couple of moments in this movie that it's lucky that this happened, gang, because otherwise so-and-so would be in trouble. Like with Bonnie Bedelia, the fact that she goes by her maiden name ends up saving her for
Three-quarters of the
a
film.
good portion of the movie.
3/4 of the film.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely.
the fact that she's kind of frustrated with John because he's non-communicative, they're estranged, whatever. And she sees the one family photo that she has in her office, and she puts
Yeah.
it face down so that when
Luckily.
Hans takes over her office of all offices,
Yeah.
he doesn't see that John is her husband.
Yeah, I actually just learned a very important detail in the website that you just handed me.
I handed him an entire website.
Die Hard 2 was based on a novel. Yeah, I just noticed that because we had the IMDb for Die Hard 2 up there, and I noticed written by, and it's based on a novel also. Now I have to go find out.
That's fantastic.
Go
Well,
for it.
we've got our Readers Club
Yeah,
edition now.
you
Yes,
see,
Hindsighters,
80s
we're starting a book club
Yes,
that's
book club, that's
solely
Oh my
circles
God,
around
it'd be
action
so
movies.
awesome. Well, you know, that actually, the novel side of it does bring up a very cool sort of twist, which is that Bruce Willis was not the first person to play this character.
Yes,
Someone get
I
fired?
had that in my research.
No.
Nope.
Frank Sinatra
Was
the
supposed
first
to be.
No, Frank Sinatra did play.
No, I meant in the movies.
I
Well,
learned so much from
Yeah,
this podcast.
in the
This is fantastic.
the adaptation of the book.
I've got it here.
Nothing Left to Lose. Is,
Yes.
What year was it published?
Well,
50?
I don't know about that, but
79.
Oh, 70.
79. That yeah. But the book Nothing Lasts Forever, sorry, is a sequel to a book called The Detective. Mm-hmm. And The Detective has the same character in the books, and in the first movie it was the actual the name of the character was Joe Leland. And they changed it to John McClane when they made this movie, but Frank Sinatra
Cowboy.
played Joe Leland
Wow.
in The Detective in 1968. That is literally the same character as John McClane,
And
just with a different name.
and subsequently, at 73 years old, that's how old Frank Sinatra was when Die Hard, the movie, was being cast. He wasn't really known for his acting chops, but the chairman might have been an odd choice for John McClane, but they were contractually obligated to at least offer him the role.
Yeah,
So
Frank Sinatra, you mean.
Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra, yeah.
because he had
So-
played in the original, and his contract said if they ever make a sequel, they've got to offer it to him.
Yep.
And actually,
And who else was up for this role, Jason, after they moved on from...
a lot of people.
No, we talked about it on Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson.
Which would have been cool.
Schwarzenegger, I think Adam Darby told us once.
Schwarzenegger would have been
a little too typical almost.
Yeah.
But I think Mel Gibson and who else?
I don't think McTiernan.
Harrison Ford was also
Harrison
up for
Ford would have been
consideration.
good. Yeah, he would have been great at it also.
Get off my plaza.
They would have all been pretty good.
Yeah, but only Bruce Willis could have.
Well, we've mentioned this a couple of times where once I found out that those other actors were offered this role, Jason was like, God, why didn't they just make the same movie
just
three
over
times
and over
with
again?
different actors?
Just make it 3 times.
And then, you know what? And I was like, oh, so it'll be like A Star is Born, but for guys.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
That's exactly what they need to do.
It would have been brilliant. And then you said that those would have been all the top Christmas movies.
I'm honestly
forever,
amazed. I'm honestly amazed they haven't rebooted this yet.
Well, they can't reboot something that's still being made. I mean, they keep making freaking Die Hard movies.
Hollywood can do anything. If there's money
Spider-Man,
involved, they'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of money, apparently, one of the many things that this movie is known for is how much glass is broken in the process of the explosions,
das Fenster.
the shootings, John breaking through the window.
The glass.
Schießen das Fenster.
Well, and the reason it makes sense when you do a little research to understand that none of the actors who are any of the goons in Gruber's crew or Gruber's gang, none of them knew any German.
Right.
So it actually makes sense
Because
that he doesn't understand him when he
Bruce
speaks
Willis
German.
is actually the most German of all of them.
Do tell.
Well, he was born in Germany. His mom's German.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
He's so much more German than Hans Gruber.
I wonder if he was like the German language consultant. That's funny.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rainn Wilson on The Office. Whenever you hear him speaking German.
Okay, that's 2 Office references. I'm
maxing out at 3.
I'm counting.
No. I'm just saying he's German too. That's literally all I was getting at. But going back to all the broken glass, which part of it, I think 3 pounds of it wind up in John McClane's feet and Archer's. If you watch Archer.
His fake feet. His big old rubber fake feet.
Well, yeah, but I mean, apparently they spent about $130,000 on glass alone for this movie.
Yeah,
because they break so much of it.
But to be fair, they also, for budgetary reasons and like tax purposes, they classified a lot of the cocaine as glass. Yeah. So it was really just sort of an accounting gimmick.
Smart thinking. I love it. Or sugar, because they make the sugar glass. Either way. That's genius.
Now, there is a connection between this movie and another movie that we've watched, and I'm trying to remember the name of the bad guy, Uli, the Asian bad guy.
Oh, yes. Lethal Weapon. You called this. I made a specific note about it.
I have seen him in
we
another movie, and I'm trying to recall which one it was.
He's been in a ton. I have it right here. So his name is Al Leong. He's the terrorist with the candy bar that they're all arming up, and they've got their machine guns, and he takes take a moment to enjoy a Snickers. He just grabs a candy bar out of the...
A Nestle's Crunch.
A Nestle's Crunch, is that what it is?
Yeah.
So he is the same guy from Lethal Weapon who was torturing Mel Gibson
with the electrodes.
Yes,
I remember.
With the electric shock therapy, yeah. He died between Mel's thighs, as Darth Vader wants to go. She's volunteering as tribute, Mel.
That's going to be your tombstone in the show notes this
Hell
time.
yes, tombstone moment.
Died in Mel Gibson's thighs.
Between... In his thighs? That sounds weird.
Young Mel Gibson, right?
Mel Gibson, anytime, any place, whatever makes him happy.
No, I think the question is Mel Gibson with the big bushy beard?
I'm between his thighs. What does it matter? You guys are thinking about this way too thoroughly.
I think that might be the tombstone quote. I'm between his thighs.
Okay,
what does it matter?
Okay, that's my tombstone. Yours is he stubbed patient 0.
Yes.
Oh my God, I think we finally finalized them. We've been talking about this for over a year.
Yeah. Well, I guess if she's between his thighs, she won't be able to hear the anti-Semitic slur.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
If I can't hear it, it's okay.
It's not real.
Precisely. Ostrich syndrome. Just the really dirty version.
God, ostrich syndrome.
Is that like Stockholm syndrome, but with an ostrich?
Yeah.
It's Mel Gibson syndrome. It'll be named Darth Vader syndrome. Name it after me at the very least. But yeah, getting back to Al Leong. He was also in the Scorpion
He's the sort of
King.
guy you hate until he's inside you.
Oh, Jesus.
And that's a Family Guy joke.
Cruising right along. But yeah, Al Leong was also in The Scorpion King, Big Trouble in Little China. He was on That 70s Show. He was in multiple Lethal Weapon movies.
Oh, was he? He was in more than one?
He was in 4, too. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, he's all over the place. He's a very...
in the 80s when you could open up any door with a machine gun.
Absolutely.
If it was locked, just shoot it. and sparks will fly. No,
They used a lot of sparks in
yeah,
this thing.
they use a lot of sparks.
Almost as much as they did glass, but not quite
Yeah.
as much.
And a lot of explosives. They blew the shit
Yeah, there was
out
a lot of
yeah.
C4, and that's one thing I had to ask because, even as a street cop, you know that C4 has quite a bit of wallop to it, and when you're trying to basically cause a distraction, I never understood why John McClane used so much that it blew out an entire damn level of the building, because he could have killed
He
everybody
might have
doing
taken
that.
down the entire building.
Exactly, he could have
World
killed
Trade Center
everyone.
style.
Well, and this it too is the great 80s movie explosions, because if you ever see C4 actually explode, it just goes whomp. And there's no like big ball of fire. And I love 80s explosions because they're just huge, massive
Oh, yeah.
gasoline fuel.
That's like the whole Lethal Weapon
Yeah.
thing, because I had to ask Josh, I was like, wouldn't multiple grenades create a larger explosive radius? And he was like, no, they're refined to a specific radius. And I was like, oh, okay, learned something new today. So,
Yeah.
but the 80s made sure that nobody understood that.
Oh, it was in the 80s. It's like, nah, just blow the shit up.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the explosion at the end of Terminator 2.
Oh, God.
I mean, they would do shit like that back then. They didn't use computers. They found an office building and they blew it the fuck up, and they filmed it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Diplomatic immunity.
Oh.
he's the greatest.
Oh,
Was the
he
greatest.
is. Oh, God, I love Alan Rickman. Gonna
Now-
make me sad.
It's interesting also too. One of the reasons why Frank Sinatra, I believe, didn't do this movie was not just his age, because like Charles Bronson was offered the role, or he was considered for.
That
it.
would have been
For
interesting.
Nakatomi?
Yeah, no, for not. That would have been great. Charles Bronson is a Japanese man.
Which, oh my God.
Well,
Which you got to wonder
I'm
if
going
there's-
to count to 3, and I'm going to count to 2.
Thanos shows up and snaps his fingers and everything just gets erased.
No, but
Just glossing right over that one. Sorry.
they offered Sinatra before this, when they were making Dirty Harry. Sinatra was the original pick to play Dirty Harry.
No.
Because of the detective.
Oh.
Because it's like the detective is like a total hard-boiled, like.
Well, to be fair,
and-
that
well-
would have gotten women to come to the theaters too, because women loved Old Blue Eyes,
Frank
so
Sinatra.
that was just
Yeah.
it's freaking Frank Sinatra.
Yeah,
So,
but
all right.
when they went to him, the writer of Dirty Harry met him, and literally the meeting ended with Frank Sinatra going, "Let me see the gun," and he handed him Dirty Harry's 44, and
Model 29.
Sinatra picked it up
You
and
gotta ask
went,
yourself one question.
"It's too big." And he didn't want to do it because the gun was too big, and
Yeah.
so
Wow.
he just like stopped doing action movies after that, and
He never carried a gun that was larger than his penis. That was his motto.
right.
Yes. Now, Clint, on the other hand, he was okay with that.
Yeah, he was fine with that.
Well, because
You know,
that just meant
Eastwood
that people
actually-
were going to assume things about him in a positive light.
Eastwood owned the rights to this movie, or he owned the rights to the book.
Okay.
This
And-
book?
Yeah, Eastwood was going to make a movie version of the book, and then I think he was in the process of doing it, or they were talking about it, and he was going to star in it. But then he decided to do the Deadpool instead, and hence the movie.
Well, that happens
yeah.
a lot. I mean,
Eastwood would have been awesome in this.
he would have
yeah.
been. But we mentioned on Cece's episode, Princess Bride, how Robert Redford once owned the rights to the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that just changes hands so much
Yeah.
in Hollywood.
I can
It's
see
not even
Eastwood
funny.
going Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Well, then, which would have been more
we
iconic,
go.
the Dirty Harry or the Yippee-ki-yay? Oh,
Yeah, we're at
Come out
one.
to the
Come out to the
coast,
coast.
we'll
We'll get
get
together
together.
and have a few laughs.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together. We'll have a few. I love that scene.
It's the best.
Now the thing
It's
is,
the best.
does Clint Eastwood ever run fast in anything you've ever seen?
No, he doesn't have to.
He's like running through molasses,
no, he's a
but-
cool customer.
right? But I don't know if he'd be able
I'm
to pull off
thinking
these
about
scenes.
it now.
He would just stand there and shoot everyone as they came running past him. But
Well, this is kind of a funny, random thing, but my nickname that my boss gave me was Clint Eastwood.
really,
Yes, and I was like, so I'm a 70-odd-year-old man? Like, what is this in this scenario? Because he heard about my dog having a very severe accident on the phone, and this is back when we shared an
Dog
office
had an
wall.
accident on the phone.
Yes, it was bad. He was on the phone when he should have been focusing on his driving.
He shit on the phone.
No, he jumped out. He jumped out of a car while it was moving, so it was pretty bad. But my boss heard me have this conversation, and I was like, "So the dog's okay? He's all right." okay, thank you. Talk to you later. And he was like, go home. It's okay. It's all right. It's your dog. Go check on him. And I was like, nope. They said he's all right. That means he's all right. And he was like, God, you were just like Clint Eastwood. And I was like, I'm not sure what that means in this scenario. He said, he's like, Clint just stands there, so that when you said Clint doesn't really run, he's always just, he's in the middle of the action. Women are crying, children are screaming, like all this chaos is happening around him. And my boss is like, that's what he does until pew, pew. He shoots twice, and then he holsters his guns, and it's over. He's like, that's you. And I was like, okay, that's the most flattering nickname I've ever had.
No, there is one. I just thought of the only thing I can think of with Clint Eastwood running is in Dirty Harry, whenever the Scorpio killer is like telling him that he has to go from phone to phone. That's the only, because nothing else.
You're
can't
right.
Think,
I can't think of him
I
running
can't think
anywhere.
of anything else where I've ever seen Clint Eastwood run.
Except in Gran Torino when he wanted those damn kids to get off his lawn.
Yeah, that's a deep movie there, man.
Yeah,
that's a depressing movie.
Oh, you see the blood splatter from Mr. Takagi.
Yeah.
Because John is back in the conference room where we finally think we're getting some support because and this is what kills me about the movie. It wasn't in your plot hole article, Adam, but the dispatcher that he's speaking to is such an idiot. He's screaming at the top of his lungs. They even hear gunshots while he's on the phone with them. Oh, I think they're just prank calling us again. That's where that fire alarm was going off earlier, Janice.
Yeah, see if there's a black and white. Yeah, this is definitely in a pre-9/11 world.
Yeah, seriously. If anybody heard like a cap gun going off in the background these days, like the entire cavalry would already be there. Like, dogs, bomb squad, everybody. It's just insane. And who do they send but old Carl Winslow?
Yeah. Poor guy.
Who's at the 7-Eleven or whichever gas station getting Twinkies for his wife.
It was either a 7-Eleven or a Circle K or... Right.
Bag it. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. I mean, Nakatomi Plaza. What? But yeah, so they send, what's his Al? They send Al to the Nakatomi Plaza, and you get one of these German guys who suddenly affects a very nice Southern accent, like, hello,
I got
officer.
$100 on these assholes.
What can I do for you? Oh, yeah, it was this build, and I think they forgot, well, they couldn't really cut this because one of the Gruber goons is pretending to be the security guard or desk clerk or whatever.
Right,
and he's like, oh yeah, this whole newfangled building with its computers, they're always going off and stuff. It's aggravating or whatever he says to him. But it's a reference to the fact that the building was supposed to be like a supercomputer. But they couldn't cut that out because you need this scene.
I got $50 on them assholes.
Betting on watching the game, officer. But yeah, so John...
It's a good tension builder. When Al is about to walk around the corner, the guy's going to pop him and he just like, the hell with this, and he turns around and leaves.
Because the first time you see it, you really think he's about to get he's about to get
whacked.
Toast.
Yeah, but of course, it's the 80s, so you have to have some kind of element of the buddy cop, even if it's
sort of a vague through line.
It's a distant relationship buddy cop movie, because the only person who's on John's side
is the one cop that nobody believes either. Like
Yeah.
And not once did he say, I'm getting too old for this.
Right, that's true.
You probably should have.
Maybe not LAPD, but he's definitely a badge.
How do you know? I just know.
I just know.
He didn't say intuition.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. I just know.
Yeah.
But here we are in the conference room table scene where Bruce Willis is slithering like a damn snake with the right angle table.
If a dude's standing on top of a table shooting at you, I bet
You'll
you could.
slither like a mofo.
I bet you can move.
You learn to move real quick. Yeah.
Well, Bruce clearly was lifting weights. I mean, he had some smoking guns. He was in great shape.
Does.
Yeah, he was about,
He's 33.
Yeah, he was still at his Hudson Hawk level.
He's still a young gun. Yeah, back in.
I wonder if does anyone still remember Hudson Hawk?
Oh hell yes!
You remember okay?
That movie's like fantastically beautiful.
Most people I talk to, if I say Hudson Hawk, they have no idea what I'm talking about.
I love me some Hudson Hawk.
Yeah,
he's awesome. But it's, way before The Sixth Sense. Like I miss Hudson Hawk, Bruce Willis. I really do.
Yeah, well, Bruce Willis had to transition to being an older actor.
He did, especially with the whole midlife issue with Demi Moore leaving him for Ashton Kutcher, which what bitch in their right mind is leaving Bruce Willis for anyone? Yeah, that makes zero sense.
They got married during this movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she was engaged to Emilio Estevez. And she
oh my God, I'd block that out.
One of the Brat Pack.
Yeah, she dumped Emilio Estevez. And
so she's got a history of this. dumping a guy and just she's a monkey swinging from branch to branch. Like that's Demi Moore.
I think she showed up waving a red flag on their first date, But, it was Demi Moore, and
back in the day,
you can overlook a lot. What do you mean back in the day? She's still hot.
Is she? I haven't seen her in anything or any articles or anything lately. But yeah, we have this quintessential moment here where, Mr. Winslow is about to leave, but then Bruce gets into a firefight and takes one of the bodies and chucks it on top of the black and white down at the circle of Nakatomi Plaza.
And shoots him.
Was it 33 stories the guy dropped? That's a good shot, though, really.
Very, very impressive. And I think that should be an Olympic sport. Body dropping.
Body dropping, yeah,
Body
absolutely.
skyscraper drop. I mean, look, if we're going to have curling.
And cat juggling.
No. Apparently there's a sport going around on the internet right now, Adam, where people hold a cat and they hold a gun. They shoot the gun and they see how long they can hold the cat. Like bull riding.
That seems very cruel to
the cats, yeah.
Couldn't you just use like an air horn?
You'd think so.
Do you have to use a gun?
I really, well.
Is this a Southern thing?
No. I've not looked too deeply into the matter, but I'd be willing to put money on it.
Yeah.
Well, but here we go. It takes that. This is so pre 9/11, Jason. You're right, because any other measure that John McClane could take today that he's already done in the movie would have had a slew of cops, firemen, ambulance, you name it, SWAT. Yeah. There would have been an epic amount of people there.
But the only problem is the SWAT people and the cops in this movie are so incredibly incompetent.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
And the incompetence just gets worse and worse at every level of bureaucracy that arrives.
Because then the FBI shows up and they maximize. Yeah. Just like fucking Saigon, slick.
Well, even the deputy who's...
I was in junior high or whatever.
Oh, God. But even the deputy who starts off as kind of like the beacon of incompetence at first, he starts to get frustrated with the feds later. He's like, because something goes horribly wrong under their rule of the situation. He's like, oh, guess we need some more Fed guys, I suppose. And he sort of starts to
We're
side
gonna need
with the
some
PD.
more FBI guys.
Yeah, more FBI guys, sure.
And that's another thing they don't really do anymore, but that was always such a cliche in these movies with the FBI coming in and, the cop would always say, this is my crime scene. Not anymore.
Bro.
The feds would take over.
Yep.
But we should talk about Agents Johnson and Johnson.
FBI agents don't hold hands.
These do.
And they sleep in the same bed.
I don't remember the name of the other Agent Johnson, Little Johnson, as he's referred to on the internet, because Big Johnson is Robert Davi.
Right.
Yes.
He's worked a lot.
Yeah. Talented operatic singer.
That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And he was in The Goonies, which is another great movie.
Who wasn't in The Goonies? My God.
There's another connection. I got to look it up. There's another connection between this movie and The Goonies. Somebody else was in it. But I'm drawing a blank. But Robert Davi, and the guy who plays Little Johnson, who also guest starred on Walker, Texas Ranger.
With Argyle.
No, not Argyle. Theo.
Oh, Theo.
The criminal.
Theo's brother.
Sorry.
Not the driver.
On the episode.
You got them mixed up, right?
Apparently
didn't you?
so. I'm going to smack you before the night's over, Adam Brown. That's not the first time I've threatened to do it. So
I'd like to apologize.
You're at 2
to
strikes.
The audience for the conduct of my co-host.
I just threw something at Jason. That's what that noise
She hit him
was.
with a pencil.
Yeah, see, this is what happens. Yeah. And of course, here we are.
She gets violent.
Walter Peck, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what his actual name is. Let me look it up real quick.
Has he worked after this?
He was Peck in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
We've mentioned
that's
him
the
before.
only thing that I remember.
Because he's the bad
William
guy of
Atherton.
Ghostbusters.
William Atherton.
Because he's the reason why Ghostbusters,
Yes, that man
goes awry.
has no dick.
Gotta go rap with the mayor about some stuff.
This newscaster, I believe, was also in Lethal Weapon.
She
is a regular newscaster.
The actress and the character Gail Evans or whatever was in another either McTiernan movie or something else as the same anchor,
right?
Even so, connecting the universes. But I do want to bring up something that's important because as you know, I like to examine every movie critically as a film and every, a piece of literature, and also to see who's a supernatural being in the movie.
My blood pressure just skyrocketed through the ceiling.
Mine's dropping rapidly.
So,
Feeling lightheaded. So I'm going to take a nap.
The Quaaludes just kicked in.
dude, I wish.
That's right. It is
Do
the
some
80s.
more coke. Do some more coke, dude. You'll be fine.
You got to balance out.
Okay, I'm ready to go now.
And your friends want a link to our podcast?
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Proceed, Jason. Tell us this
So,
story.
is Carl a supernatural being?
Jesus Christ.
Because let's look at the evidence.
Speaking of supernatural beings,
Yes.
right? Nice
Yeah.
segue.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at the evidence. What does Carl survive in this movie?
Yes.
He gets blown up.
Yeah,
Right.
I will go with you on this one, Jason.
He was
because
hanging for 3 days and he rose from the
gets,
dead.
He gets a rope. Yeah. Maybe it's a Christmas movie. So
He was crucified.
Yeah, maybe. So that
This
would
is
make.
so much worse than me mixing up Theo and Archive.
No, wait a minute. So does that make John McClane punches Pilate?
Well, would it be?
Well, then who's Neo in this situation? I have to know.
Al.
What if I told you the
this
truth?
is actually all happening right now? What's really happening is that Al's wife is giving birth, and he's fantasizing this whole thing as a way of escaping the horror of
There
being in
you
the
go.
room. That's the real story.
This is
See-
all occurring in a snow globe.
She's
actually.
giving birth to one. Yeah,
They're shaking it right now.
not
was
Hills,
St. Elsewhere.
St. Elsewhere.
Yeah, it's our
Almost said
Citizen
Hill Street
Kane.
Blues.
God.
Yeah, actually, his wife was giving birth to the first kid from Family Matters, and that's
So many
what a
crossovers.
twist.
What a twist. Well, speaking of crossing over the universes, guys, did you know that there are literary roots not beyond the actual novel that this movie is based on? Apparently, the director took a lot of inspiration from Shakespeare.
Really?
Yeah, well,
That's
that
part
makes
of the
sense
reason.
because remember in Twelfth Night when those terrorists took over the building.
You remember the party scene in Much Ado when the terrorists crashed and it was just
yes.
Benedict had to kill everyone?
That
It
He
was
was
intense.
visiting the west coast
Yeah,
of France.
That's exactly.
He said, "Come here, relax."
Wait, I thought Padua was in England. What?
Cometh out to Padua.
We'll have a few meads.
Yeah. Fucking Padua.
No, but seriously. Apparently that's part of the reason why all the events take place on one night, because they sort of based it off Midsummer Night's Dream with the party scene.
That's right, because in the book it was over 3 days.
There
And
you go.
McTurnan, yeah, that's right. And he wanted to do sort of a, which is like, that's such a shitty, stupid director thing to say. Like, I changed the action movie from
Based
3
on
days to 1
Shakespeare.
day because of Midsummer Night's Dream. No,
Well, I
you
mean-
didn't.
Well, Jason, then did you in turn, since you directed our Shakespearean production this year, did you take inspiration from Die Hard for the Much Ado party scene?
Yeah, really, pretty much the entire, my vision
whole movie,
was just
the whole
Die
show.
Hard. Yeah,
There
but
you
we
go.
did run into some budgetary constraints. I had to nix the explosions,
The special effects are just terrible
the
when
part
you
where-
watch them in
yeah.
HD.
the part where Benedict is walking over the broken glass,
Now, during our standoff, was I Carl and you John McClane, or vice versa? That's
Well, I've got the longer hair, so I guess that makes me Carl.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were Carl. Yay!
I'm defeated. I just crossed over like 14,000 different things.
I'm pulling my 9mm. I don't know if you can hear that.
You just shot the TV.
And now we can't watch the movie, so
Such an 80s thing.
Hindsight
Cocaine,
and good
shooting in
night.
the studio. Where's Sammy Hagar?
But it is funny that we say
Probably
that
at a casino.
most likely the casino where that guy from Christmas Story is haunting what used to be the department store.
That's true.
As
That's
we
true.
mentioned
Way
on
to
our Christmas
reference.
Story.
Way to reference.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, we're tying into everything tonight. That's what's happening.
Darren McGavin is John McClane
Oh,
in
Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus.
No, don't do it. We're not going back
Bruce
to
Willis
this.
is John McClane as Jesus Christ in.
We've just lost our Christian audience.
Oh,
Thank you.
we never
very
had
much.
one. Are
All
you
three
kidding
of
me?
them.
Yeah.
But okay, so there's a movie happening, gang.
I was trying to get us a gig on the EWTN and we just blew it.
Oh man, the fish
well.
radio might take us still because you can't see how hard we're laughing.
Preachy.
Anyway, so this is where you see that Bonnie Bedelia, aka Holly Gennaro McClane, gets really lucky because she does put that picture down where you can't see John. However, Hans hasn't run into John yet. They haven't had their run-in. And I'm sorry, guys, but as much as I adore Alan Rickman, that American accent that he affects for this movie is just...
When he plays Bill Clay.
Bill Clay. You ever been out to one of those ranches in Texas? Like, it's just...
No, leave me alone. Don't hurt me.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But now, I
What do you think,
heard...
fucking stupid, huh?
I thought I
What
read
did you
somewhere
hear?
that he was playing around with American accents, and so
Okay.
they incorporated
Yeah,
that entire
that
scene.
that's exactly right.
They built it around
Yeah.
the fact that he was like talking like Americans. Look, this is the way you all talk.
Well,
Yeah,
he comes
'cause
down
they-
on America pretty hard in general in this movie. Oh, you typical Americans, you cowboys, you've seen too many movies. Like, it's all this cliche shit
Yeah.
that he's just throwing
Well,
out at John.
Because that was in the 80s. You always had, the Soviet guy in Rocky 4 just shit talking about America because you knew at the end Rocky was going to beat the crap out of
yeah.
him. So, it was good old bad guys. We don't have bad guys. I mean, Thanos, give me a fucking break.
The giant purple guy.
Yeah.
he's
Thanos is
Barney on steroids.
Yeah, Hans Gruber would have wiped out half of the universe and then wiped out the other half.
Well,
To get some extra bearer bonds.
Yeah, just for the bearer bonds.
no, 20% of the bearer bonds.
Yeah,
Not even.
I am an exceptional thief.
Yep. He's an exceptional potions master.
No, well, that's your first Harry Potter reference.
It is not.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
Oh, I've been tuning them out.
That's okay.
No, but we don't have bad guys. We don't have just
Not just
villains
not
anymore,
a nationality of bad guys anymore. Like, is it, in Red Dawn,
Yeah.
and then the next
Soviets,
Red
yeah.
Dawn were the Koreans.
Yeah.
So it changed.
You mean the Red Dawn that was much less plausible than the first
the Red Dawn with Thor, yeah, that was a little less
Yeah, where it's
plausible.
like in the first
somehow.
one, the Soviet Union is attacking us, and the other one, it's the Koreans.
Wolverines.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Who knows?
They flew their one plane over here? What's going on?
Yeah, but you don't just have that fear-mongering group of people in
No,
movies
and-
anymore. Because they even talked about that on an episode of Friends where Joey's trying to get his picture hung up at his dry cleaners because he's a working actor again, and he's like, wait a minute, why won't you hang up my TV show picture? And they're like, well, your show makes Soviets seem like bad people. And he was like, well, so does Harrison Ford in Air Force One, but his picture's up on the wall. It just...
Well, and there was that sort of brief 90s flirtation with generic South American terrorists.
Yeah, that was really
Yeah,
random.
Toy Soldiers.
Yeah.
Which Toy Soldiers is a fucking awesome movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a
very overlooked
It's a
movie.
very overlooked movie.
Yeah,
but
it's underappreciated.
if you like to see a bunch of military hardware, because the U.S. Army basically is one of the cast members of that movie,
Yes,
especially
it
at the
is.
end.
Was it a good recruiting film?
Oh, well, they just show. Well, I don't know, because in the end, Louis Gossett Jr. does have to save their asses. So,
Oh, okay.
Who
but,
can tell?
But that's fine. That's what this movie needs. That's the only thing that could have improved this movie. Louis Gossett Jr.
Not Batman?
You know what?
Ooh.
I was actually thinking about that because
Of course you
because
were.
my rule is every movie can be improved by the presence of Batman.
Wait, what? I've never heard you say
Yeah.
this before.
I don't know about this one though, because if Batman showed up, it would be real quick and over with.
Well,
know.
the Batmobile made a showing here. Bring in the car. It looks like a Batmobile.
There
the
he
police
is.
have themselves an RV.
There's our boy, Al Leong. He's about to grab the crunch bar.
My kid.
I bet you he added this bit. He had to have added this bit.
I
he probably
hope
did.
so.
Yeah, he probably did.
I really hope so.
They probably, it's like, craft services was, a little sloppy that day, so he stole himself a candy bar. Yeah, my kid actually loves saying when he plays video games, the quarterback is toast.
Oh, by the way, I ordered this shirt, and when I first put it on, both of my kids wanted it. They're 11
no
and 12.
shit.
Of course they do.
And I was driving my son home last night from Scouts, and he's like, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!"
Your son said,
Of course,
your 11-year-old kid
course.
said
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
God.
because he doesn't say he says yeah.
Oh,
so he takes
okay.
the U
Yeah.
out, which makes it not
Well, and it's like,
offensive.
Makes it less of a...
let's be honest, it is probably the most enjoyable word in the universe to say.
so very satisfying.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
feels good.
Exquisite
Yeah. It
mouthfeel.
feels
stub,
good.
stub your toe, and that's what you're gonna say.
You'll have adjectives, verbs, like every form of the human language in one word.
Yeah, the only other one that's on par is goddamn. because it's got 2 syllables in it. So, God damn it. You can just draw it out.
Oh, so many.
I was parked outside of Publix one time. We were listening to the radio, and there was a celebrity on, and they bleeped him. He said, oh, beep, mother, beep. And my daughter said, well, what did he say? I said, oh, he said fart. Because she says, are you sure he didn't say, and she's like 9 years old, you sure he didn't say f***? I'm like, no. She starts yelling it out the window. I roll up the windows. I'm like, stop it, please.
Oh my God.
You're going to have us deported from Georgia.
No, officer. Everything's fine.
Everything's okay.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is a great word.
Yeah,
it's a great
thank
word.
God nobody's like taught kids to, if they ever want to mess with their parents, just to yell, this isn't my dad.
Oh, yeah. No, it makes me think of Calvin and Hobbes, where like his parents take him, they go camping or something he doesn't want to do, and he's got a sign in the back of the window, "Not my parents, call the cops." And the Belchers recreated that too.
Yeah.
It's definitely a shout out to Calvin and Hobbes.
Which is, that joke has been done so much that I think now if I saw a kid with a sign that said that, I'd
just laugh.
I'd just laugh.
Yeah. Because kids have access to so many more things and jokes and stuff now that it's just like, they're fun.
Yeah. The cops, again, keeping in the theme with the police being totally incompetent.
Yep.
And and it's not just that, but they're completely arrogant. And they decide they're going to send the SWAT team in. And of course, John McClane is telling them,
hey, don't.
Yeah,
they're really
don't
well organized in here.
They've got missiles and like explosives and stuff. Oh, the police have themselves an RV.
You got to love the programmer, though. Sorry, what is the programmer's name? Theo? Yes. So he's got some pretty good...
Oh, yeah. Theo's great.
He's got some pretty good lines in this whole movie where he's calling it almost like it's... like a football game.
Yeah.
Where,
that's the quarterback is toast.
Yeah.
It's such a great
we just
line.
now rolled up to that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, John is just, he spends a lot of time looking out of windows in this movie. And then I guess
yelling
that's
it out.
Yeah.
Al, tell him to stop.
Quit it.
Well, it teaches a lesson. You push a man in a corner, he's going to drop a bomb in an elevator and, hey, pay attention to me.
Yeah. I'm calling the shots here.
Well,
Yeah.
And they that scene, by the way, the famous explosion that blew half the building up. The way that they did that was they actually bought a particular type of flash bulb, and they got like every one of them in the Central California region.
All the butter in all of the city
Yes.
for lobster
And,
fest.
and they set off the flash bulbs.
Wow.
To simulate the explosion, and it works so well, and it was such a great practical effect. Which, today would be CG, but I'm not going to.
Oh, there's the Batman's tumbler. Maybe that's where.
Bring in the car.
Yeah.
He did it again. He did it again.
And I love that the RV goes up the stairs and promptly gets stuck.
And then they hit it with an RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like.
I hope nobody was hurt.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, like, what does John really expect the terrorists to do but stymie any attempts to break into the building? But that's where he loses his
Thank
shit.
you, Mr. Cowboy. I'll take it under advisement.
Take this under advisement, mother. Yeah, and then that's when he
Hit
throws
it
the seat.
again.
Yep.
Oh, and this is where he gets the explosives,
Yeah,
right?
he
And
straps
drops
it
them
to a chair.
Oh.
Well, because you come to find the reveal is that Hans Gruber does want the feds to show up.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's all
he's
part of his plan, yeah.
when
Yeah.
he's just trying to progress this along, and John is trying to stymie all of his, attempts at doing that because he wants people to live. He's a genuine-hearted cop. He doesn't want anybody else to die. But that's when I'm a barefoot cop. But that's when he loses his mind because he's like, no, don't hit them again, Hans. Don't do it. And he does it anyway. And that's when the C4 goes down the elevator. A bunch of it.
He's putting the igniters.
The detonators.
The detonators.
Where are my detonators?
Yeah, all the detonators.
Yeah. Well, that got a little Arnold. But apparently, according to Alan...
That's another cliche, 80s cliche, detonators.
Detonators.
It's always the detonators.
This is a transmitter.
Yeah.
For all of our Rick and Morty fans out there. But yeah, according to Alan Rickman, he didn't feel like he was playing the villain in the movie. Apparently... He said, I'm just playing somebody who wants certain things in life, has made certain choices, and goes after them.
Well,
but
that's how you have to play a part like that.
But he's also famous for saying that if you can't empathize with
Well,
your character
absolutely, you have to.
on some level that you shouldn't be playing them in the first place.
Or a bad guy doesn't think he's a bad guy.
No, even the talented Mr. Ripley, Matt Damon covers that. He said, no matter what you do in life, no matter horrible, no matter how insensitive, whatever, I'm badly paraphrasing, nobody thinks that they're the bad guy.
Hans,
They always have a reason for doing the things
are
that
we
they are.
the baddies? No, but our caps have skull and crossbones on them. I think we're the baddies.
No, it's quite stylish, actually. The skull and crossbones.
Walter Peck.
How many times in your life have you said, when someone asks, how are you feeling? Pretty f***ing unappreciated.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's so many lines in this movie. Like I was telling you before the show, when I was in Los Angeles last time, anytime anything unusual occurred, I just went in California.
Because they set that tone at the very beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because John
Oh, yeah.
sees the poster and he's like, oh, California. And then he sees the Playboy bunny or whatever jump into the
Yeah.
random guy's arms. He's like, and then it just ups like, freaking California. God, like, he just hates the state.
Well, yeah, I think
He's a New Yorker.
Yeah, I went to San Diego a few years ago and on a business trip, and I got off the plane.
Business trip.
Yeah. And I got off the plane, and they have a transgender bathroom there. And I just looked at it and went, California. And it was like, it felt good. It was like, that's the appropriate time to say it.
Yeah, so you gotta get those bad feelings out, Jason.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
admit them to the world.
Glass, who gives a shit about glass? Who the is this?
Yeah.
He just doesn't care. And I think there is something to be said about the fact that he is a New York cop. He genuinely dislikes everyone in California. You know that.
You know, if you lived in New York and you've moved to California, it's so diametrically opposed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, everything is just so beautiful but fake in California.
Yeah.
And everything's so gritty yet
Gritty
real
and
in New
very
York.
real.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
Not that I've been.
yeah. To California or New York?
New York. I've been to California.
Okay. Well, you need to go to, I'm telling
Gotta
you.
go to New York.
I know. You guys have told me
before
this before.
it becomes California.
Yeah, no shit.
You
Yeah.
know.
No, I mean, New York, I've always said New Yorkers always had a bad reputation, and they don't deserve it because they're genuinely awesome people.
We're not to believe Night Court or Night Shift, evidently, because they paint a bad picture of New York.
Californians have a terrible reputation, and by and large, they
I think they
kind of
deserve it. Yeah.
yeah, at least the Los Angeles greater area does. and if you are in the greater Los Angeles area and you don't think you're an asshole,
Bye, California.
And that's why they're on fire right now.
yes,
They're paying for
exactly.
this.
Guys.
It's God's retribution.
It is.
For their sinful wave.
We just lost our 3 California
Sodom and Gomorrah.
listeners. Dang it.
They're
We're
cool.
batting 1,000.
Come on. Hey,
Australia's loving this right now.
Oh, yeah. They're our biggest fans besides Japan.
because Australians are going, what? Half the place is burning? Big fucking deal.
We'll all survive regardless.
Yeah, call me when the whole place is on fire.
We've got radiation here.
WTF, mate.
Godzilla.
And Godzilla.
And what is
Ellis.
Ellis? That's his name.
Ellis is coming in
Coke
to
bumper.
negotiate.
80s man.
Oh, yeah, because he just negotiated a multi-million-dollar deal, Holly.
so
Somehow
stupid.
he's talking kind of like a stoner, despite the
Yeah.
fact that he's coked the out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he does a bump while they're being held at gunpoint.
Yeah. Now, does he have shoulder pads?
I think.
I think he has shoulder pads.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah, light shoulder
They're
pad.
making him
Yeah.
a little lurch looking,
'Cause, yeah,
honestly.
it looks like
Because guys don't typically need shoulder pads.
They're
That's gonna-
power pads, power shoulder pads.
Oh.
Intimidating people at meetings.
God.
This may appear cartoonish now, but remember back then, this was the style.
It was. No,
yeah.
I've got pictures because when we did Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the mom in that movie looks just like my mom used to in the 80s. The iced blonde hair, the shoulder pads, like the striped skirt, everything. It was.
This jacket was not a costume, by the way. It was my roommate's. He was throwing it in the garbage, and I pulled it out. I said, "No, I'll get some
You got to
use
save
out of
that.
this.
You gotta
Oh,
save
I'll get
man.
some use out of this."
But 80s man does die.
Yeah, 80s man.
80s man dies.
But none of us feel bad about it.
No, because he's a tool.
We
No.
want
He's a
him.
complete
We want him
douchebag.
to shut up.
yeah, really, the only person that you
Well,
feel
and-
bad for is Takagi.
Well, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true because Ellis. I mean, you feel bad too, vaguely for because Holly comes in, and she's actually pretty brave. She's the
Oh,
one
Holly's-
left in
yeah.
charge after Ellis and Takagi die, and she's sort of appointed, and you can tell that she's not necessarily scared of Gruber. She didn't want to be appointed to talk to him, because the less she sees him, the better, and the less likely he's going to figure out that she's John's wife. So, but she comes in, and she's like, look, we've got a pregnant woman. She needs a couch. Can I at least put her in an office? Like, she's asking for very practical
but I
things.
don't have a couch put out. Will that be
And
sufficient?
I've got to say, Hans Gruber
He's
kind
very
of politely
reasonable. Yes,
meets
very
her
reasonable,
demands. Yeah.
Well, she spent in her first marriage 6 years with Sonny Crockett. She's
Yeah,
gonna be a
that's
tough
true.
woman.
Yeah.
I mean, she went through a lot.
Your love for
married
Sonny
to him.
Crockett.
And
It's
Bonnie
just-
Bedelia, which I have to say is the most enjoyable name in the world to say.
Oh.
Yes.
Bonnie Bedelia. It's almost up there with Mandy Patinkin.
As you wish.
I think that would be the power couple. I want to see the Mandy Patinkin, Bonnie Bedelia.
No,
movie.
but then
Yeah.
she can't take his name, though.
Mandy.
Because-
Wait, Bob.
Man-
wait.
Mandy Bedelia.
Bonnie Patinkin? That
Bonnie
doesn't have the same
Bonnie
snap to
Patinkin.
it. No.
Bonnie Patinkin. Oh, okay. Well, she'd be Bonnie Bedelia Patinkin.
Oh, my God. Okay, yeah. Well, I'll accept a hyphenate. Yes. Okay. Approved.
But
Approved.
she and Alan Rickman actually became like really, really good friends. They had like lunch with each other every day on set.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and it's like, how nice would that have been to go like, okay, Al, you want to go get?
Yeah,
get
Al.
lunch? Yeah.
She calls him Al. That's his name, isn't
Well,
it?
I think they were about the same age, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So they could share music,
Yeah,
things
because
like that. You know, the young kids like John McClane. He was only 33.
yeah, he
I
was,
was about to say, how old was Bonnie Bedelia when they did this
40.
movie?
he was
As
40.
was Alan Rickman. I
Yeah.
think they were in their
Well,
40s.
I, for one, can say that age difference doesn't always hurt a friendship. But
No.
what would I know about that?
No.
Yeah,
Darth Jader and I are still speaking.
yeah.
This is very true. Despite what you did,
What I
made me
did
want
to her,
shivers.
it made her
God.
shiver.
Ew.
Yes, yes.
Smack you.
If you think shivers is so bad, then why is it mentioned in almost every single podcast you guys
That's
do? I've been
true.
listening to all
That's
of them.
true.
Because it scarred me for life,
Yeah.
and that left an indelible mark in my brain, which it's like a parasite.
Wait till you
it
watch-
compels me to talk about the damn movie.
Wait till you watch Life Force.
Oh, shit.
It's space vampire zombies with just the right amount of nudity. And
Oh,
I mean
nudity
it.
in a pic with
Just
you
the
guys?
right,
That's never
just the
happened
right
before.
amount of nudity. It hits that perfect. In fact, I guarantee you. I have to go dig it up and find it. I have a copy of it on VHS, and I will guarantee you, if I get that box out and if I had a VCR and I put it in a VCR and pressed play, I know exactly what moment. Probably right after.
That I would jump ship. That Darth Jader would say, I'm out.
I guarantee you, if you put the tape in, rewind about 5 minutes, and it's going to be the nude stuff.
Well, this
We
will be-
just lost Darth Jader. Oh, she just left the building.
Well, the contention and the mention of you on regular episodes got you to listen to more of our show, so maybe that was just an elaborate ploy, Adam Brown.
It worked.
Yeah.
Your ratings just went through the roof.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You doubled your
Hey,
listeners.
we're killing it on YouTube right now.
Yes, that's what you were telling
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Or I think for some reason the
trolls can't bring us down.
well, no, it's interesting because the episode that's doing great on YouTube right now is the Ernest Scared Stupid episode, which is if I might say so, a kind of shitty episode
Hey.
of our show.
Jeremy, I love you. Don't listen
wasn't
to
insulting
Jason.
him.
Good.
No, I wasn't insulting him. It's just it was the movie didn't offer a lot.
But there was
Well,
a
it's
lot of
an
good
Ernest
trivia.
movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good trivia
Yeah.
in that when I was listening to
Yeah,
that.
we
Yeah,
did.
but there's hundreds of people watching that episode.
Well, and
It's
that one's got a ton of nostalgia for the age group that primarily uses YouTube, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that.
So that if you really etch out the numbers, that makes a lot of sense. So anyway, we digress.
Yeah, where are we in this film?
The deputy is coming down on Carl Winslow, wanting to talk to John McClane, and
How do you know he's not one of the terrorists?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no way, man. He's hurting. He's tired.
His feet are cut.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're not cut yet.
Oh, they haven't? Schießen das Fenster
yeah, they haven't done that yet.
No,
Oh, okay.
that hasn't happened because Han still hasn't met John McClane. He hasn't become Mr. Clay. But
Well,
that takes a while to happen.
It does. It does, and it's a long movie.
It
You know,
is.
it's the longest of all the Die Hard movies, which
That's
is
probably
the
a
only.
merciful-
Yeah, which is it's the only good thing you can say about the sequels
Thank
is
God.
they get shorter.
And why is Hans Gruber climbing around on the roof anyway? You'd think that he would be in the command center.
Because he's blowing up the roof, remember?
He's the
gonna
job to blow up the roof. I know
No.
what
He's looking.
he should have sent someone up.
I see what you're
Delegate.
saying.
He's the leader.
Delegate, Hans.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, he's losing people to delegate too because
I guess
John
that's
keeps
true.
killing them at every opportunity.
that's
So, because even Mr. Winslow says John's the reason why you only have 7 terrorists to deal with instead of 12.
That's
Like
right.
it's a big moment. And I was like, wow, he killed 5 people on his own.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty.
Yeah, those are good numbers.
Yeah,
You
he's
know.
literally killing it.
Yeah.
Good
Wah,
for him.
wah.
Shut up.
Now,
We should have brought walkie-talkies so that we could talk into the walkie-talkies. you know,
Hey
it's
pal,
just-
you still there?
now the getting back to the Christmas part of this Christmas,
Which we
movie
mentioned about
thing.
an hour and a half ago.
We've now done 2 Christmas movies. We've done A Christmas Story, which arguably is a Christmas movie. You know,
I mean,
pretty,
sort of.
It's pretty.
I
Christmassy.
usually watch it
Yeah.
in
It's got
July.
Christmas in the title.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do the Alf to Seinfeld scale, obviously,
Yes.
but I want to talk in terms of we are going through this whole Christmas season. Let's figure out what is the greatest Christmas movie ever. Now I'm gonna vote between the 2 that we've done so far.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna give the vote to Die Hard.
Of course you are. This movie was your pick to watch.
Obviously. And I think what we should do is every episode we'll see what the current leader is, and then we'll just keep asking the guests to sort of vote, and we'll see what movie ends up bumping all the way up to the top.
You know what? That's fair because
Yeah.
we're not doing as many Christmas movies as we did Halloween movies. So that works. So I know for a fact also that every single guest that we booked for a holiday movie has seen each of the holiday movies.
Yeah.
Because they're all so
Yeah.
iconic that
Yeah.
it's well, for the most part.
Yeah, we're not doing any really obscure Christmas movies.
Yeah, I think the most obscure one is Jingle All the Way, and that has
Yeah,
Arnold
that's not
Schwarzenegger
really,
in it.
yeah.
So yeah, we're not worried about it.
How
So,
could
yeah.
any movie beat this one, though?
That's what I'm
sorry.
saying.
Good luck.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but see, he's asking for your opinion. So then maybe our next guest has a different opinion about which one's better.
Well, I think clearly this is going to be a 2-1 winner for Die Hard.
Why
I'm
2-1?
Are you voting for Die Hard over A
out of-
Christmas Story?
Even though I know what other movies we're going to be discussing, or
Well, no,
Absolutely.
we've only done the 2, so it's only right now. It's just between A Christmas Story and Die Hard.
honestly, I do love Die Hard. I really do, but I also really, really love Christmas
I love it.
Vacation.
Christmas Vacation?
We're
Did
not,
you just
no,
say?
we're just between the 2 we've done though.
Oh shit!
So it's
Okay,
it's
I
going to be a
messed up.
roll. It's going to
All
be a
right, well-
rolling thing.
We'll
It's
edit.
got to be one that you actually do a podcast on, because if it wasn't, It's a Wonderful
between
Life
the-
is
Well,
the winner, because I cry every time I watch that.
Why, when the pharmacist slaps Jimmy in the head until he bleeds from his ears? Yeah, it's pretty emotional.
What is wrong with you?
I didn't even remember.
Are you kidding me? That
Damn.
scarred me for life. Yeah, it's
Okay.
horrible. I've mentioned that
Hot in
before.
here suddenly.
Wow.
The pharmacist.
Okay, that's
you need
that
to visit
was
your
that,
pharmacist.
Yeah, that was
Maybe
your
a
takeaway
Xanax
from that
might help
movie.
you through the day.
I just remember that. Okay, so between the 2 movies we've done so far, ooh,
It's tough, isn't it?
it really
It's
is, because Christmas Story is
A
so
Christmas
great.
Story is so good.
Come back to me. Give me a few more minutes. Come back to me.
Well, I mean, we've got 2 out of 3, at least.
All right, so
for
it
Die
wins
Hard.
for
So
this round.
Die
All right,
Hard-
if nothing,
yeah.
regardless of whether or not I vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your opinion, Die Hard, is really relevant in Die Hard. And anything that you may do, you can Die Hard. Choose any film, Die Hard, that you want.
Yeah, so just Die Hard.
Die Hard. Die Hard.
No subliminal messages at all. Now that I've learned the voting system, which was fairly simple.
Oh, here it comes. He's looking for the explosives or the
Detonators.
The detonators.
Yes.
Which, by the way, do either of you know who is the earliest American to be quoted as saying Die Hard?
The earliest American.
I actually,
John Adams.
close. Very George Washington.
Wow.
When he was told that he was going to die, he said something along the lines of, like, I die, but I die hard.
That is so
I
metal.
know, I die hard, but I don't mind to go, or something like that. But it was George Washington
God,
said
now-
die hard.
He's Ron Swanson on
What a man.
freaking crack. Yes. Oh, that's amazing. I
That's
love
the
it.
movie I want to see.
Oh, here we go. Sorry,
Okay,
not to cut you
Gruber
off, Jason.
has just
Gruber becomes
found
clay.
Sean.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Well, we do, though, need to discuss Alf to Seinfeld.
Okay.
Oh, please, God, no.
Yeah, one of
It's actually a
You're
really
an lamb,
accurate
aren't you?
portrayal.
yeah.
Don't kill me. I love my son and I watched this. He's like, oh my God, what is he doing? That was so smart of him to figure that out.
Yeah,
Yep.
like on a dime.
I know,
You know?
immediately.
Yeah.
Well, but
Clay. Bill Clay.
I could shoot those things with those red pellets
Yeah.
or whatever it is that he says. Because you ever shoot a
What's your name?
gun, Bill?
Peter Griffin.
It is Louise Belcher. But
This one's kind of
Don't
tough.
shoot that gun again.
This one is tough for me on the Alf to Seinfeld scale because that scale is, as we've discussed, it measures did it improve for you
yeah.
when you got older, or you
did it get worse?
Did it get worse? And when I saw this movie as a kid, it was fucking awesome. And I watch it today,
And it
it's
is fucking
awesome.
awesome.
It's
It
How many
hasn't
bleeps are we
changed.
gonna
Yeah.
put in this episode?
yeah. I will be in a nursing home one day watching this, and as an old man rolling around in my wheelchair, going,
Yippee-ki-yay!
"Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!"
Because you stated that. You said your
Yeah.
son is definitely putting you in a home.
Oh yeah, he's
when
already
you-
told me that. My mom can live with him, but Dad's going straight to the home. And,
Well, don't
I've
worry.
actually told him I'm kind of okay with that.
Don't worry, buddy. Your old pal Darth will be there to read to you and pretend like we're still doing
Nursing homes
podcast
are going to be
episodes.
really cool places, though. You know, it's not going to be that old Perry Como music. It'll be, hey, nurse, play my Metallica. Where's my Megadeth?
If I don't hear some Black Sabbath in the next 30 seconds,
No, Mr.
Will,
Mitchell's listening to his Metallica again.
just smother him with a pillow. And meanwhile, Jade is
Just
squawking
smother
about
him
John
with
Mulaney in the other
You'll be
ward.
babbling about John Mulaney.
Were you squanching again?
John
Squawking.
Mulaney. John
Oh, I
Mulaney
heard
once
squanch.
said,
Of course you did, darling. Of course you did.
"You look just like John Mulaney."
He was my husband back in the day. No,
Give me
Darth. No,
give
he
me
wasn't.
another pillow.
This one breathes too well.
We're gonna run out of pillows at this rate. You know you can reuse them.
God.
Really?
You can't kill him. He breathes through his ass.
Ew.
And on
Right.
that note,
I don't know why
so
I said that.
so I am
So
I
on
am
the ass
I am going to
scale, Alf to
say
Seinfeld.
yes, the ass,
Yes, to
the
Seinfeld.
Alf Seinfeld scale ass. I'm going to give it a 5 because it is every bit as good today as it was when I first saw it as a kid.
I'll go a little bit higher, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because when I was a kid, I had no earthly idea what bearer bonds were. I didn't really understand or appreciate all the mechanics and all the intricacies that were going in to the Gruber gang's heist. I just didn't get it. I knew that we were cheering for Bruce Willis. That's what I knew.
You know what? You just changed my vote because well, no, think about it. When I was a kid, you know what didn't exist? Die Hard the musical, Funko Pop,
Yes!
Die Hard stuff.
And
we'll take
Amazon
pictures.
didn't exist
Amazon
where you
di-
could order from
no
the
shit.
comfort of your own home.
Yes.
Wonderful shirts.
You know
which
what?
You'll see
Yeah,
on the,
that bumps
Yes,
it
we'll
up
take
to
lots
at
of
least.
pictures.
There's a 7 right there. So I give it a 7.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go 7. Solid 7, too.
777.
Yes.
At least it wasn't 666.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Is that
Is
your
that-
actual grade then, Adam?
yeah.
Or, like,
I'm giving it a 7.
No, that's
Why,
the,
though?
that's the mark of Harvey Weinstein.
Ooh, nice.
Look it up. So I think that is probably the first time that all 3 people in the show have actually
given an
given
exact
the
same
same
rating.
thing.
But why?
I think it's the first
Well, I'll
time that
tell
all
you,
3 of us really.
I hinted at it a moment ago. In the privacy of my own home, I got on the computer and ordered a shirt that said Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker on it.
But
and it
how
was
does that
delivered to
improve-
my front door.
But how does
Because
that improve the movie?
I can now celebrate the film
Yeah.
while I'm watching
Yeah.
it. Before I was just maybe in the theater or
Yeah.
in my living room watching it, but I couldn't celebrate
Yeah,
it.
now it's like a
You get to-
thing, you know?
I'm
Yeah.
Welcome to
celebrating.
the party, pal.
You earned that one.
I
you
did.
earned that. Oh.
That was. Oh, I'm proud of myself right now. You guys say something. I'm gonna glow in the bask.
Well, unfortunately, we have come to the end of our time with Die Hard. So we're going to have to. I hope everything works out for John McClane.
Yeah, I do too, because there's like 45 minutes left of the movie, but we do have to wrap up. Hindsighters, we do apologize. We're trying to make our episodes a little more bearable for you guys, because we've got some trolls who have opinions about
Yes, we do
things.
have trolls.
We're
Not that we
we're not
listen to
bowing
them.
to the trolls.
No.
are we?
No,
Okay.
absolutely. It's actually going with our reformatting ideas.
okay, good.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But
Yeah, more big changes. We keep talking about it, but they are coming. Big changes to the show coming up. We hope.
Well, hang on before we
Okay.
get into sign off stuff. But, for once again, if you guys haven't seen this film, watch it right now. You can stream it on Amazon Prime or YouTube. That's how I found it. Do yourself a favor and watch it. You don't have to watch the sequels or anything like that, but I think
No.
we should at least go through the ending. Because we sort of mentioned what happens to Han, so let's give it a few extra minutes just this episode to say how things wrap up.
Well, yeah, we do have the infamous Hans Gruber falling from the top of the building.
Yes, and the
Insane.
great line that goes with that, because the deputy sees the body fall off the building. He goes, "Oh, I hope that wasn't one of the hostages."
Yeah.
That was a
pretty
classic
great.
line.
Yeah.
That
Now,
was.
we really want to get. We want a spoiler. We want to spoil
Oh yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, because
Okay.
most people have seen this movie,
Okay,
so
yeah, that's fine.
you deserve it to be spoiled if you haven't yet.
Yes.
But yeah, so John and Al have this whole relationship going on throughout the film where they don't know what the other looks like, but they're each other's strongest ties.
Yeah.
And they get to see each other. And once again, we sort of alluded to the fact that Carl survives.
And remember, Al hadn't pulled a gun since he shot a kid.
Yes, he
That's
shot a
right.
13-year-old boy who
Yeah.
looked like he was carrying a fake gun like
Just
yours,
like the one
Adam.
I had.
Yeah.
And Al shot him, and he's been too afraid to pull on anyone ever since. So he's a desk jockey by
Yeah.
his own definition.
Yeah.
And so we get a bunch of crazy stuff that happens toward the end. John saves the day. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Big surprise.
Big surprise.
He kills Hans by unclasping Holly's watch.
Yes.
Well
and
done.
while Hans is holding
Because
on to
what
it.
kind of watch was it?
It's a Rolex.
Yes, they
Yeah,
point
yeah.
that out at the very
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
All that stuff comes full
Chekhov's
circle.
Rolex. Yes.
Because
And
Hans is out the window, but he's clinging to Holly's watch, and then John unclasps it so that Hans
It's
can fall to his
symbolic.
death.
Yeah.
Yes.
His
And-
time is up.
Oh God. I'm taking back your applause. But of course,
You can't.
Carl,
It already happened.
Carl, who is a supernatural being,
God!
Isn't dead.
You don't get any applause.
he's not dead. He rises from the dead. And who saves his life by shooting him?
Al.
And
Al,
that's the
John,
real
Big,
John, and
big Al
Al.
Roker.
Yeah, and that's the actual end of the movie. Bearer buns flying through the air.
Argyle kind of saves the day by stopping Theo, the
Argyle
programmer.
hits Theo with the
Yes.
car. Yeah,
Carl Winslow shoots Carl.
yeah,
But it's like it's snowing at the end.
Yeah.
Because it's a Christmas
yeah.
film.
Well,
it
because
is a
at first
Christmas
the
movie.
bearer bonds
Exactly, yeah.
are flowing out of the window, and that's it. But and
Yeah.
once again, I'll link to this article that Adam sent us. But then later, it's just blank sheets of green and
Yeah.
white paper, which who cares? It's
Yeah, who cares?
snowing
Yeah.
in Los Angeles.
But that's sort of
That kind of wraps everything
ties it up
yeah, that
nicely
ties
with a
it up.
bow.
Yes, because
With a
it's
Christmas
movie.
bow.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Well, do you want to tell everybody where they can find us on the Soch Mead?
Ew.
I know. I hate myself.
Go Ralphie
Ew,
yourself with
God.
a bar of soap.
Ooh,
Go away.
ooh, sorry.
Anyway,
Sorry.
you can find us on the social mediums at Hindsight is Horrifying on Instagram. You can find us at Hindsight Horror on both Twitter and Facebook. We've got a phone number on the Facebook page, so if you feel like calling in and making suggestions, because listeners, we are about to make some formatting changes to the next season. We're wrapping up with all of our holiday favorites this season and hope that you stay tuned in. So find us and stay updated on all the goings on for Hindsight is Horrifying on our social mediums. Find us and make comments and rate us, please, if you find the time. So,
And subscribe. Rate and subscribe.
and officially, I'll mention something that bit of an elephant in the corner of the room, guys. Adam Brown and Katie are officially tied for appearances on Hindsight is Horrifying, and
She tried to outstrip me. It's not going to happen.
She did, but Adam has been practicing his club routine, and he wouldn't let it happen. So they will be competing for appearances on the show. Who will win? Stay tuned and find out. Adam, thank you once again for joining us, our veteran visitor / guest.
Thank you, as always. Thank you for dressing up in the amazing.
God, seriously, I'm taking pictures.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Seriously. And with that, thank you everybody for spending your daytime, your nighttime, your drive time, or whatever time with us as we continued our trip down this very merry holiday something. I ran out of steam.
As you do, listeners, thank you for tuning in. As always, this is Hindsight, and good night.
Good night.